What's up, YouTube? I'm doing this video just because somebody put a comment out. They wanted me to do like a talk about Amanda Nunes pulling out at 213. And I like doing videos for you guys. If there's anything specific you guys want me to make, then I'll do it. You know what I mean? Just to give my thoughts. Shout out to Awesome Sports. He's the one that requested it. So I'm just gonna talk about some of the big fights, recap them, and then I'll talk about Amanda Nunes pulling out. So let's just do Amanda Nunes first because that's what the guy wanted to hear, and then whoever wants to hear my recaps can keep listening after that. I guess Amanda Nunes pulling out, I don't think she was afraid to fight Valentina. You know what I mean? She's already beaten her once. I think she was legitimately sick. I mean, a doctor can say one thing. There's a reason why, like, you watch movies or TV shows, they say, do you want to get a second or third opinion? One doctor can say you're fine, and another one can say, oh, she's got the flu. I mean, let's look at Amanda Nunes' track record. I mean, she just beat Miesha Tate, who was the #1 chick in the world, and then she beat Ronda Rousey, and she beat both those chicks pretty easily in one round. And like I said, she already has a win over Valentina. I do think Valentina's better than her. I think Valentina could beat her and finish her in the fourth. My opinion about that hasn't changed at all. I do think Valentina is going to win that belt eventually, but I don't think Amanda Nunes is afraid of her. I think Amanda Nunes legitimately felt, at least in her mind, she thought she was sick. You know what I mean? And I don't think she's mentally weak. I think she just felt mentally like she wasn't going to be able to fight. And if she was feeling sick the day before and then she just started feeling better, and like if the doctor said, oh, she's fine now, but she was still feeling a little bit sick, and she's like, I don't feel like there's any strength in my body, because I know that. I've been sick and I felt fine the next day, but my body still feels weak. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure everyone's felt like that. That's probably how Amanda Nunes felt. She probably just felt like she couldn't put any energy into anything, and she just wasn't feeling up to it. So I don't feel like she's ducking this fight. I do think they're going to fight pretty soon, is what I heard, because she wasn't injured. Neither one of them was injured. I hope they fight, within the next month, hopefully even sooner. They can honestly fight within the next week or so. I mean, I know the UFC wants to build it up so they can make money, but they should have that fight as soon as possible, because I think that it'd be a great fight either way, whoever wins. But like I said, I would still pick Valentina, and I don't think Nunes was ducking her. Anyway, let's recap. I'm just going to recap like 5 or 6 of the big fights. First, on the Ultimate Fighter finale, Jesse Taylor. I wanted him to win that whole season. He was the man. The first round, he kept shooting for takedowns. He couldn't get him at first, but eventually he got Diego Lima to the ground. He was beating him up, trying to get that rear naked. Couldn't get it. The second round, he got clipped, dropped super early. Diego Lima tried to take his back. Jesse Taylor was able to get out from underneath his legs, take his back, and get the rear naked choke. Great win for Jesse Taylor. He's the new Ultimate Fighter. He got like close to 300 Gs. That's awesome. Next was Justin Gaethje versus Michael Johnson. It was a great fight, back and forth war the whole entire time. I thought that was what was going to happen. I thought it was going to last like one more round, but they were going at it hard. I think the stats was like 110 strikes to 100 strikes total. So they were just beating the shit out of each other. If you haven't watched that fight, you should. That's definitely the best fight of the year so far. Justin Gaethje eventually landed a big uppercut. They said it was that knee to that body, but I watched that fight a couple times on different, websites you can find on the internet. That knee to the body definitely did some damage, but you could see Michael Johnson was still throwing strikes after that. It was that uppercut. That uppercut, after Justin Gaethje landed that uppercut in the second round, you watch the fight, Michael Johnson basically stopped throwing strikes after that. I think he was basically out on his feet that last minute or so, and he was just trying to survive. And eventually, Justin Gaethje put him away. It was still an amazing fight. Great win for Justin Gaethje. He's definitely in the number 5 or 6 spot now. Next, we go to 213. The first fight I want to talk about was on the undercard. It was Oleksiy Oleinik versus Travis Browne. To me, Travis Browne is basically done, because I feel like that fight, the whole point of it was just to get him a win, because they still felt like he was a top 10 guy. And Oleksiy Oleinik, I like Oleksiy Oleinik a lot, but the fact is he's past his prime a little bit. He's still a great submission guy, and he's got the ability to throw hands with anybody, but you know what I mean? He's never going to beat like the Mark Hunts and like the fucking, what's their faces, like the Fabricio Verdums and stuff like that. You know what I mean? There's no way he's going to beat those guys. So it was an amazing win for Oleksiy Oleinik. I think that win should put him at number 10, but like I said, I don't think he'll ever get much higher than 10 at this point in his career. Travis Browne, Dana White said that he thinks he should retire, and I agree. I felt like Travis Browne looked good. He got clipped, and then he was basically done after that. I mean, Oleksiy Oleinik was pretty much able to control the majority of the fight after he dropped him. was a great win for Alexei Oleinik, and Travis Browne should probably retire. The next fight I want to talk about is Jim Miller versus Anthony Pettis. Both those guys look really good. I think Pettis, that was the best fight he's had in a while, but unfortunately it wasn't against a top 15 guy. Jim Miller's really good, and I like Jim Miller. Even though I picked him to win and he lost, I still felt like that was a great fight. I don't know where Anthony Pettis is at this point. I'd love to see him fight anybody in the top 10 just because I feel like that's a real... We're really going to see where he's at this point in his career. Because beating Jim Miller is a good win, but it's not like, you know what I mean? That doesn't mean you're going to fight for the title being Jim Miller. It just shows that you're still at least somewhat in the mix. So I'd love to see Pettis fight a top 10 guy to see where he's really at this point. Hold on just a second. There's fucking... Oh, yeah. I want to talk about Fabricio Werdum versus Alistair Overeem. I don't know about you guys, but like Dana White said he didn't think that third round was a 10-8. I thought that third round was a 10-8. Hell yeah, I thought that third round was a 10-8. You know, Fabricio Werdum dropped him, rocked him really bad, took him down, and basically controlled him for like the last 2.5 minutes. The fight was fucking one-sided as hell that third round. The first round I thought could have went either way because I don't think any of the punches that Alistair landed in that first round did significant damage, and Fabricio landed more. So it was kind of like, I wouldn't even say it was damage versus volume. I think it was just volume versus volume, and I thought Werdum won it just because he landed twice as much. You know, he was never hurt. He never got dropped or anything, so I don't understand how everyone completely agreed that Alistair won that first round. At best, it was a 10-10 round. I personally don't think that fights should be scored 10-9 if neither guy does anything. I know that they have 10-10 rounds, but they never give them out. And that first round was a fucking 10-10 round if I've ever seen a 10-10 round. Round 2, Alistair Overeem clearly won. He was landing good shots. He was clearly not rocking Werdum, but he was able to hurt him a little bit, and then he was able to get a couple takedowns. And I thought he clearly won that round 10-9. You know, that was a good round. Round 3 was either a really strong 10-9 for Werdum or a 10-8. And, you know what I mean? Like I said, he rocked him, dropped him, took him down, controlled him for almost half that round. You know, that was a really dominant round for Werdum. I thought it was a 10-8. At least a 10-9. And like I said, I felt like that fight was either A, draw, or B, a win for Werdum. The fact that Alistair won that fight was crazy as shit to me. I honestly feel like, it's not just that, but I also don't like it when guys who I don't think have the ability to win the world title are like about to fight for it. It's not that he can't, but I mean, can you honestly say that you thought he looked better than Werdum? Especially if it was, imagine if that was a 5-round fight and that third round went into the 4th. Werdum would have fucking murdered him. Werdum can fight for 5 rounds straight. He's got an amazing gas tank. I feel like if Werdum fought Stipe again, he'd probably win. If Alistair fought Stipe again, I think Stipe knows now. He can just get through those first 2 rounds to fuck him up in the 3rd. Either way, like I said, I thought Werdum won, or it was at least a draw. Either way, it is what it is. And finally, I want to talk about Robert Whittaker beating Yoel Romero. You know, that was amazing. I mean, he got his leg practically busted up in the first round with that side kick. He could hardly walk on it, and he somehow managed to win 3 rounds in a row, 3, 4, and 5. I think Yoel did a shitty job of managing his energy. I think that, you know, he won those first 2 rounds, and then I think he should have cruised in the 3rd and then really picked it up in the 4th, but it just seemed like he wasn't trying as hard to get the takedowns, and it seemed like he was resting a bit too much. And then the 5th, he finally started going after it, but then he slipped somehow at the end, because I thought the 5th was about dead even, then he slipped. Robert Whittaker was able to get on top and then just rest on him for that last minute and get the decision. It was a great win by Whittaker. I mean, like I said, Whittaker busted his leg really bad, like the first minute of the first round. So it was an amazing win by Whittaker. I think he's, in my opinion, he's the real champion because he fucking beat Jacare Souza and he beat fucking Yoel Romero. Those are the guys that everybody thought was going to be the champion, and Bisping's been ducking both of those motherfuckers. Robert Whittaker is clearly the best guy at middleweight. Like, even if Bisping somehow managed to beat Robert Whittaker, that doesn't mean shit to me, personally. I mean, that's just, I don't think he will. I think Robert Whittaker is way better than Bisping. Also, like I said, he's beaten the best people. He's beaten the 2 best guys at middleweight. He's absolutely the real champion. Bisping just got lucky and got a fight on short notice against Rockhold. He didn't earn it like Rockhold did. I mean, not Rockhold, but fucking Whittaker. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say. Thanks for watching, guys. Please like and subscribe.